Do communists live longer? This is an interesting discussion. Welcome to the porch. Much love, Trav here. Doing a little bit of reading. I'm sorry if the audio sucks because there's a lot of traffic out front. So let me know how that is. It's an experiment. I like to experiment, shoot in different places. Are the oldest living people communist? So we want to live longer. We want to have better lives. And we study that. The Blue Zones, 9 Lessons for Living Longer, explains how to do it. It explains a lot of the lifestyle that goes into it and a lot of the communities that have the highest longevity, pockets of longevity throughout the world. Okinawa, Nicoyan, Costa Rica, Sardinian, Italy, the Icarian Greek Isles. And a lot of these people live communally, and in the case of Icaria, where there were 14 people over the age of 100, equal age men and women, for a population of like in the tens of thousands, like couple 20,000, 30, 10 to 40, and there's 15 people, 14, 15 people over 100. These are the kind of ranges. They actually vote communist there, so at first, when you're reading the lifestyles, you're like, wow, the oldest living people are really poor. They don't make a lot of money or spend a lot of money. But they're more not dealing with money a lot. Most of these people own their land, and they grow and farm most of what they need, and they trade for what they don't, and they might make a little bit of money that they can spend on certain things to enrich their lives. But at first, it's like, all right, these people are poor. And then it's like, wait a minute, they're not just not dealing in money, and they're living longer than anyone on earth. So maybe there's a connection. I'm certainly not pro-communism. Well, I think maybe selectively. It can work in a very, very small village or small city. For a big country, definitely that experiment was the 20th century. And the results are clear of that, but it is possible for us, those of us who want to live longer and have better lives, to seek out villages, to seek out communal living situations, to own our own land, own our own means of life, production of life, food is life, to share with friends, share with family on a daily basis, and have certain communal elements into our lives which will not only make our lives better but longer, because a lot of these reasons these people live so long is because their lives are good actually, and they want to keep it going. They get up early because they have a plan de vida, plan of life, reason to be alive, and that is to serve their community. So that's why communists live longer. Again, I'm not for the USA, but small communal setups seem to be connected to longevity. Again, I reviewed this book in full. You can go check it out, that review. But we'll do, this is a subject that's important to me. And hey man, maybe you'll see me YouTubing in my hundreds. I was thinking, why do I get out of bed in the morning? To serve people. How can I best serve people? The internet. I can serve a lot of people through the internet. So that's my plan of life. Maybe I'll be getting up early in 80 years, 70 years, 74 years, and sharing little nuggets of wisdom that I've acquired in my 100+ years of life. That would be cool, right? So stay tuned. Maybe that happens. Hope to see you then. And I want to end with one story that is crazy. This guy's real famous, Dan Buettner. He worked for National Geographic. Most of his work is for National Geographic. When he went to Icaria, Greek, there was a dude who was born in Icaria and immigrated here and lived most of his life working his way up in the States until he was about 60, and he was diagnosed with lung cancer, and 6 doctors confirmed it, and he was like, well, why don't I go back to Icaria? It's a lot cheaper to be buried there. I can be buried facing the Aegean Sea with my parents in my great grandparents' graveyard. I'm gonna go live with my parents, move the family back to Icaria for my last couple months to life. And then he plants some vegetables and plants some fruit and just goes on about living. Lives another 20, 30, he's alive in his 90s or early 100s, something like that, when they're in Icaria doing this. His cancer just went away. Again, this guy is scientific, he's vetted by National Geographic, so it's not necessarily the cure for cancer, but in this case, it just went away. So he's like, all right, well, this is fishy, you know, you go back to, like, that's weird. Like, when you were back in the US, did you talk to your doctors to figure out why your cancer went away? He said, yes. When I was back in the States, I went to see my doctors to show them that I was alive, to ask why my cancer went away, and my doctors were all dead. So, communism cures cancer. Not exactly, but if you have a strong reason to be alive, and that strong reason is your community, then you will probably live longer, according to this book. So, what's your plan of life? What can you do today to help people? What's your purpose? What's your mission? Share it in the comments, or don't. Hope you find this useful. Give it a thumbs up if you like the location. Much love. See you in the comments.